Hey, Shalom. I'm going to start by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, who taught me this truth through the Holy Spirit. And Shalom to the elect. We got a couple of things going on, this week. Okay, it seems like a wicked week, and this is exactly what it is. Okay, there's a lot of witchcraft, wicked week full of witchcraft going on. Okay, and this is all aimed at the elect of Israel. Okay, and I'm gonna show you, a couple of things that's going on. The elder, all last week he was talking about Psyops, and that's the spirit, the elder Yashawan. But if you go look at his page, this is what he was talking about mainly last week. And sure enough, okay, we got a Psyop going on, and this is a two-way Psyop that's going on. Okay, first you had this guy right here. Okay, this guy is Jake that stabbed a Ukrainian woman. Okay, he stabbed a Ukrainian woman, and some information came out earlier today from the brother. I believe his page is Stay in the Spirit. Okay, and what I'm gonna prove here is that it all comes together. Now, the guy that stabbed the Ukrainian lady. Okay, let me get this real quick. If the damn page will load up. Okay, and this happened. I believe it was. This was published on the 9th, so it's probably happened like. This happened on August the 22nd. Okay, but this is all intertwined. All right, it says Ukrainian refugee stabbed to death on a Charlotte light rail, a crime video, and a national flashpoint. Okay, and this is all in an effort to make Jake the face of crime. Okay, knowing that Esau is responsible for all these things, but this is what they do. But a point I want to get here, right, is what the guy's sister said. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that this is linked in to the ministry. Okay, this is bear with me. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Okay, this is it right here. This says, now this is describing a suspect. It says a mental illness and systemic failure. So Brown was the name of the guy that stabbed her lady. It says his record stretched back over a decade, including armed robbery, larceny, and breaking and entering, and repeated arrests tied to erratic behavior. Okay, it said he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, he was having hallucinations, and he was paranoid. He said he believed the government had implanted a chip in him. Okay, let me read that again. He believed that the government had implanted a chip in him. Okay, so this is the official story that these people are telling him. Okay, so what they're gonna try to do, okay, is try to say that anybody who says these things, right, is a schizophrenic, paranoia. They're gonna try to make us to be out crazy, okay, and try to make us out to be some kind of killers. Okay. And this is the same thing that happened to Yahweh Shai. Okay, let me get the scripture because I've been talking for a while. Okay, this is Luke 6 and 6, and that's the spirit. 666. This is all a trick by the devil. Okay, it says on the Sabbath he went into the synagogue and taught, and a man was present whose right hand was withered. Okay, and that's the spirit too, because the chip is going in your right hand or your forehead. It said the scribes and the Pharisees were watching him closely with malicious intent to see if he would actually heal somebody on the Sabbath, that they may find a reason to accuse him. Okay, and these devils, okay, this psyop that they're putting together is all in an effort to accuse us. Why? Because they know what we say is true. Okay, we're doing the things that are pleasing into the eye of the Lord, and we're not giving them any reason, to accuse us. Okay, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna manufacture, you know, a reason. Okay, and this is all goes into a psyop, right? A psyop is a psychological operation. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that. Okay, let me see. I believe I have it already. Okay, no, I don't have it. So let me get it. Okay. And you know, this is a kind of a hard video to do. Okay, because you know there's a lot of different ways you can go with this. Okay, but I'm gonna do my best with it, and Lord's will you edify. Okay, psyop. It says a psychological operation where operations are conveyed, are operations to convey selected information. Okay, point being, he thought that they put a chip in him, the government. Okay, this is all select information. Okay, and indicators to the audience to influence their motives and objective reasoning. Okay, and they're gonna try to influence their reasoning so they can come and accuse us, and everybody will be okay with it. Okay, because now you have freedom of speech, right? You have freedom of religion, but they're gonna use this as a way to take those away. Okay, and you're going to the world, that is going to agree with it because they are being induced in this psychological operation. Okay, and they've used Donald Trump to do this. Okay, this is nothing but a form of witchcraft. Okay, a spell that they put on you. Okay, and we know that the word MAGA, okay, MAGA in Latin, okay, that word MAGA means a sorceress, enchantress, or a witch. Okay, so what we have here, is two sides fighting. Okay, righteousness versus evil. Okay, and this is also happening during the time of Elijah. Okay, when it was him against the priests of Baal. Okay, and this is the same thing that's going on. Okay, this psychological operation is being done by high-level witches. Okay, and these words that they're using, okay, mental, what do they call it? Mental derangement, mentally deranged. Okay, schizophrenia. All these, weird names, right? These witch names, right? These spell names, right? Schizophrenia. It sounds like a sort of a spell. Okay, but what is probably the name of a demon. Okay, and they're using these things to control the minds of the masses. Okay, and it's all aimed at, the prophets. Okay, and he also had he also stabbed the so-called white lady. Okay, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white lady. Okay, and this is all gonna pull at the heartstrings of America, right? Basically, enchant them. Okay, to come against us. This is a book of Isaiah 29 and 20. It says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, the scorner is consumed." Matter of fact, let me get this in the Amplified. Let's get this in the Amplified version. Okay, and again, this is this is a hard lesson to put together, really. Okay, because there's a lot of different ins and outs, to be able to explain what these devils are doing. So this is Isaiah 29 and 20 in the Amplified. It says, "For the tyrant will come to an end, and the scorner will be finished. Indeed, all who are intent on doing evil will be cut off." All right, and this is the message that we have, for the priests of Baal. Okay, these high-level witches. It says, "Those that cause a person to be condemned with a false word and lay a trap for him who upholds justice at the city gate," the prophets, we know the scriptures say, though, that rebuketh in the gate, they lay a snare, and defraud the one in the right with meaningless arguments. Okay? And this is what this devil does. He gaslights. Okay? He'll gaslight everything and accuse on the other end of it. Okay? And that word gaslight is a new word. Okay? But if you look up the ancient word for gaslight, it really says beguile. So this is the same serpent. Okay? This is the same devil that's beguiling the people. Okay? Now, that's one part of it. Okay, the second part, we have here this Charlie Kirk incident. Okay, that took place, when did it take place? It took place yesterday. Okay, they're just bringing it out on September 11th. Okay, September 10th, September 11th. Why? Because this is a high witch day. Okay, 9/11. Okay, because there's really an emergency going on. Okay, and this truth is hurting them. Right now, that word Kirk, okay, that word Kirk, let me see if I can find it. Matter of fact, I'll just look it up. Okay, I'll just look it up. And I posted it on my channel before, okay, but I'll look it up again. Okay, that word Kirk in Hebrew, all right, Kirk in Hebrew, let me see. Okay, that word in Kirk is a circle, okay, an assembly or a company. Okay, it says, and this is Wikipedia, Kirk is a Scottish and former Northern English word meaning church. Okay, so this word is church. Okay, and this is a subconscious, right? They're subconsciously putting these two events together to tell you that they're going to be accusing the church. Okay, the church are who? The prophets on the highways and byways. Okay, and this is a psychological operation, okay, that they're doing. Okay, a form of mind control. Okay, let's look at this right here. Okay, I typed in Google, right? I put, what is it called when you use a series of events, right? A series of events, right? A stabbing of a Ukrainian woman, a shooting of, a prominent speaker, okay, whose name means church. So they're putting these two things together, okay? And I put, what is it called when you use a series of events to program your mind, okay? And it says reprogramming a subconscious mind, okay? Reticular activating system, okay? Subconscious programming. Okay, so this is a mind control. It says Mystique and Merlia. Okay, healing vibrations. So it's a subconscious programming. Okay, so let's look at what that word subconscious means, because this is exactly what they're doing. Okay, implanting things into your mind. Okay, like that word Kirk. You may not know, okay, in the mind that it means church, okay, but your subconscious understands, okay, because Hebrew is a part of, the creation, okay. It's a subconscious thing that these devils know, right? It says the subconscious is a part of your mind that operates below conscious awareness, storing memories, okay. So a subconscious would be like, like breathing, right? You don't think to breathe, but you just do it, okay? Because it's subconsciously and it's implanted, just like the Hebrew, right? Brothers that say, when they first heard the names Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, it resonated with them, because subconsciously it's already in there, okay? And Hebrew is the original, the pure language, okay? So we were all created in Hebrew, right? Because what the Lord said, He spoke these things into existence, right? If you read the book of Genesis, 1 and 3, it says, and the Elohim, said, let there be light, and there was light. So these things are spoken into existence. Okay, so this word Kirk subconsciously is getting you to think about assassinating the church, okay, or destroying the church, okay, and this is all part of this high level witchcraft. All right. And they also accused the so-called, and to go along with it, to make it more clearer, they accused the black church, okay, because the black guy who they accused, right, they say he was, the government put a chip in him, so they in their mind they're fermenting, they're getting the people whipped up against black people, okay, and then they come in with the church. So this is the black church, okay, the so-called black Hebrew Israelites, on who this is aimed at, okay. And I'm bringing this out, just so you can know, okay, just so you can see exactly what's going on. I go into a lot of these topics, here and there, okay, when the opportunity presents itself, but we have to be able to see these things, right? This is the book of Sirach 5 and 15. Be not ignorant of anything, in a great matter or a small matter. Okay, so you may say, I'm reaching, or, you might think that, this is, some type of conspiracy, but nevertheless, the information that I'm, presenting to you, okay, is factual information. Okay, it's factual that MAGA means witch. Okay, it's factual that there's a subconscious mind. Okay, it's factual that Kirk means church. It's factual that these guys say, that the government tried to put a chip on him, okay, and they're accusing him of being, a deranged murderer, man. Okay? So you put all these things together, and this is what you start to see. Okay, this is why, you want to be circumspect, right? And circumspect goes into what? Full circle. Okay? Let's look up what that means to be full circle. Okay? Okay. What does it mean to go full circle? Circumspect. What does full circle mean? Okay. It says full circle. It says the return to a past position or situation, especially in a way considering to be inevitable. Okay, it says through a series of developments that lead back to the original source position or situation, or to a complete reversal of the original position. Okay, so you get all the information to come to the conclusion. Okay, you come full circle. All right, and this is what is taking place. Okay, in this lesson. All right, these devils are being exposed, for using these enchantments on Jake, and we need to know these things. Okay, we need to know these things, that these people work on our subconscious mind. Okay, remember, I just looked up right here, right, a series of what is it called when you can use a series of events to program a mind. Okay, and it says reticular, okay, secular as well, which is circular, okay, activating system. Okay, so these devils are working on a subconscious mind here, okay, and this is a psyop, okay, a psychological operation. All right, let me get this real quick. Okay, let's look up mind control right here. And this is spirit, because I was just talking about this yesterday with the brother. Okay, it says mind control. This is from Wikipedia. It says brainwashing. Okay, the concept that the human mind can be altered or controlled by certain psychological techniques. Okay, Psyops. Okay, and this is a big one that's going on here. Again, we have to understand what's being done. You know, why? Because the scriptures say, let me get it. Let me get this. Okay. It's Proverbs 27:12. A prudent man sees evil and hides himself and avoids it. Okay, so we have to be circumspect in this time. Okay? Right now is the time where this devil is going to look for anything to accuse. Okay? So you have to foresee what this devil is doing. This devil is throwing a punch right now. Okay? And if you don't duck it or weave it, you about to get hit by it. Okay? And this is this is a very, high level thing that's going on right now. Okay? Even this morning I woke up, and I went to the gas station, which I usually do, to get a cup of coffee. And the devil asked me about this. Okay? Like, why are you asking me about this? Okay, but they're looking for a reason. Okay? So it says, a prudent man sees the evil and hides himself and avoids it. But the naive, who are easily misled, okay, who are mind controlled, easily misled, okay, the sheep continue on and are punished by suffering the consequences of sin. Okay? So we know what? This devil is, setting up National Guard in Jake's neighborhood. Okay, he's put up bad press. Okay, and now he's assassinated the church. Okay, Kirk. Alright? So all y'all that, don't find yourself, convinced, hey, you're about to get destroyed. Okay? And this devil's coming hot and heavy. Let me get this right here. This is the book of Psalms 73. And let me get this in the KJV. Psalm 73:9. I'll start at 8. It says, they are corrupt and they speak wickedly concerning oppression. Okay, they speak lawfully. Okay, and these people are corrupt, all right, and they are a bunch of wicked ass people. Okay, and they don't care that the things that we've been through, right? They don't care that Jake, has been, the perpetual butt of the joke. Okay, the perpetual servant. Okay, that he's been perpetually hated on, all right, and ostracized. Okay, and used and abused. Okay, they don't care, all right. All they care about is that a black man stabbed a white woman. Okay, and not realizing that they the ones that brought this lady over here. Okay, if they didn't give all the money to the Ukrainians to kill off all these millions of Ukrainians, matter of fact, let's look how many millions of people that have been killed in Ukraine. Okay, and this should show you these devils speak wickedly, man. And they won't give you the true number. How many Ukrainian soldiers have died in the war? Let's look. It says troop casualties in Ukraine near 1.4 million, study finds. Okay, and this is all done, through the provocation of America. The Americans talked them into this. Okay, so they've killed 1.4 million Ukrainians, okay, by enabling them, right, giving their neighbors drink, okay, giving them the bombs and the weaponry, and 1.4 million of them died. Okay, but nobody's even talking about that. Okay, all they care about is this one white lady, and all that 1.4 million is going to be placed on the back of Jake. Okay, this is another part of their psychological operation. Okay, Jake is going to be the face of death in Ukraine. Because this is what these devils do. Okay, they speak wickedly. All right, they're corrupt. Okay, Psalm 73:9, they set their mouth against the heavens. Okay, the highest. And their tongue walketh through the earth. Okay, with this damn news media psychological operation. Okay, this is what they do. Okay, they put their mouth against the heavens. Okay, or the Israelites, the highest of the high. Let's look at this word heavens.
Strong's H 8064. Shemayim.
Shemayim. Okay, it says the sky as a loft, a door perhaps alluding to the visible arch which is in the clouds above, the air, astrologer, the heavens. Okay, as an abode of the stars. Okay, and Israel are the stars of heaven. Okay, so these devils, okay, constantly demonize, okay, the righteous. Okay, and this is another part of this psyop that's been going on and it's ongoing. Okay, and it's never gonna stop until these devils are taken down. Okay, and they're going to be very soon, and this is why they're coming down with great wrath. This is Psalm 73 and 14. It says, I'll start at 12. I'll start at 11. Matter of fact, I'll start at 9. It says, "For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, they shall inherit the earth." Okay, and this is what they don't want. Okay, they don't want us to get our inheritance. It says, "For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." It says, "The wicked plotteth against the just." Okay, and this is a wicked, evil plot that Esau is doing this week. Okay, this little mind control bullshit that he's pulling upon the people. Okay, this is a wicked little plot. Okay, it's very intricate. Okay, it's very detailed. You know, it's bi-leveled. Okay, there's different schemes, and you know, it's a big production that's going on this week. Okay, and this is this devil plotting against the just, and this is all in an effort, you know, to take away the right of the people. Okay, it says, "The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth." Okay, and that teeth going into his weaponry, his army. Okay, and this is why he got the National Guard out there in Jake's neighborhood. Okay, he brought it into Chicago this week because he's looking to gnash it upon him with his teeth. Okay, his army. Okay, this is what teeth goes into, right? His weaponry. Let's look at it. His teeth. Let's look at it. Right here.
Strong's H 8150. Shanan.
Shanan, right, which is the root. It says to sharpen, to whet. Okay, to sharpen what? Their swords. Okay, to be pierced. Okay, this is what these devils are doing, gnashing upon with the teeth. Okay, his weaponry. It says, "The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth." It says, "Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming." All right, we see it too, and that's why we're warning you. Okay, and this devil is going to come down with great wrath because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And this psyop is all part of it. Okay, it's all part of it. All right, and I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it on this one right here. This is the book of Ezekiel 37 chapter. Excuse me, Isaiah the 37th chapter. Is it 47? Isaiah the 47th chapter. Okay. And 10. It says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness." Okay, thy witchcraft. "Thou hast said that none seeth me." Okay, because they think that, you know, they're getting over. Okay, but you're not going to be able to deceive the elect, is what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai said. The Lord also said there'll be no enchantments against Jacob at this time. Okay, so we see you. Okay, but you think nobody see you. Right? It says, "Thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, that thou shalt not know from whence it riseth." Okay, and this is what's happening to this devil, man. Evil is bad times. Okay, and bad times have come upon this place. Okay, and they don't know how to stop it. So this is what they're gonna do, right? It say, "And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." Okay, people abandoning, their dollar. America is circling the drain. It says, and this is what they're gonna do, right? And the Lord knows what they're gonna do, right? "Stand now with thine enchantments." Okay, thy spells. Let's look at this word enchantments.
Strong's H2267. Hever. Hever.
Haver, it says a company, a band, right, which is an army, a magician, okay, a spell, okay, a psyop, a psychological operation, okay, and they're standing with it, right, because this is all they got, okay. This is what the snake has. This is what the serpent has, right. He has his sword and he has his spells, okay. And the Lord said, what? "Stand now with thine enchantments, right, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail." Okay, so this is all he got. All right, and he's gonna prevail over the 2/3, all right, but not over the elect. Why? Because the elect, are being observant. Okay, they're foreseeing the evil. Okay, you got brothers, teaching, that's edifying one another. Okay, the body is working together. Okay, to fight off, okay, the wicked host. Okay, that's trying to take us down. Okay, and again, this is a battle between good and evil. Okay, and we know what's gonna happen in the end. This devil's gonna go down. All right, but there's going to be a lot more coming. Okay, so be circumspect, do things right. Okay, make sure the ministry be not blamed. Okay, be blameless. If they take you, hey, then they take you. Okay, the Lord, they took the Lord, right? The Lord didn't fight, try to, call down a legion of angels. No, he didn't open his mouth like a lamb to the slaughter, man. And this is what we're gonna have to do as well if they take us. If not, we'll be pilgrims on the earth. Okay, whatever the Lord has in store for you, take it cheerfully. Okay, because it's all part of the plan. But understand and be circumspect. Okay, don't be ignorant in any matter. Continue to do the things that please Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and may we all make it. Okay, Lord's will is edified. I'll end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.